Hi everyone, this is the Art of Braids. I'm your host, Karen Tenard, and today's topic, we're talking about the threads of creativity with our special guest, Kelli Jones, on braiding, education, and Hollywood glamour. We already know that when it comes to styles or storytelling with films and movies, a lot of the things that we see firsthand is people's hair. Um, and I'm not gonna take any time to kind of like drag this out. I want to introduce Kelli Jones. Please, thank you for joining us. And I want you to just kind of like give a little background about who you are and what it is you do in your craft.
Well, hey guys, I'm Kelli J. Born and raised in Atlanta, based in Atlanta, but I do a lot of traveling for hair. I'm a freelance beauty professional. That's what I like to call myself. I do a little bit of everything, whether it's television and film, commercial work, theater work, fashion week, editorial, a little bit of everything.
Wow. Well, thank you. I already know that means you have seen, heard, and done it all with
That at all.
within the industry. So dealing with different personalities and different eras, right?
Absolutely.
So I literally just watched the six triple eight film, and the screening, I just was like, I did cry. I cried.
I cried.
It,
It
it
was so
was
good.
so
So
good.
good. So
So
good.
I was just like,
Tyler did his thing. I mean, the storytelling of it all, the actors, the looks, the feel of it, like just everything came all together so beautiful.
it did. I was just like, wait, I'm not ready for this. And we know
Yeah,
how it is when it comes to the hair. We're just like, let me see. The hair was on point, and it's super, super cool and an honor to actually speak to you, who helped create all of the looks on all the women in the film. So I wanted to kind of get your intake on how do you approach creating hairstyles that resonate with the story while honoring the cultural significance of the styles you design.
Well, I won't take all the credit. We had an amazing department head, Mr. Sterling. He is amazing. He worked on so many films. And it's really kind of like a hierarchy when you're doing television and film. And it starts with the department head, then it goes with the key, and then additionals from there therefore from there on. And so what the department head does is he usually gets together with the production team. What That's the wardrobe, hair, makeup, the writers, the directors, just everyone sits down and have a round table and they discuss the film. And with the film like SixTriple Eight, it's a period film. And so you go in, and then not only is it a period film, most period films you can have references. So just going back, looking up the references from that time, and with this time, they actually have a lot of pictures from this time. And so just getting with wardrobe and makeup and looking at those references and going from there with the hair. And you just try to recreate. That's why I really love period films, because with period films you can go back into that time. So we're in the 2000s now, but going back into that time, you want to do the hair exactly how they did it with that time. Far as you want to use the same tools, use the same hair products, it just gives a lot of good nostalgia.
Yeah, like it's so crazy how some of those styles are probably resurfacing as like people be like, actually, that's cool. I don't know why it died out. But it's usually like some trend that comes and just kind
Yeah.
of like washes it out, and people are like, we're not into that anymore. Or the type of products that we were using back then compared to what we're using now, what's acceptable versus what's no longer acceptable. Um, so there were a lot of like, I guess, pin curls.
Pin-ups, French rolls, the tucks, the whole thing that we used to do. And right now it's so crazy because a lot of that's coming back. Like the girls, I want to say it really never left. It just from a different eye, it may look like something different. But like even the tucks and the pin rolls and the French the French rolls and things like that, we use those in the bridal hairstyles now. So we're still doing the same thing. It's just like a different little twist on it. Whereas back then they didn't use a lot of product. They didn't have a lot of product to use. So they were just doing their hair without product. So now it's more like a sleeker look, a little more polished finish. But we were just literally, the department had told us to just bring minimal stuff. We did not use no curling irons, no tools of that nature because they didn't have that to use then. Then they were in the army, in the army, they have to have their hair up. So a lot of the girls, and then us the girlies, the African American girlies, we're gonna always be very creative with it. So if you look and you saw some of the girls had like swoops, but it wasn't like tight to the face. They still wanted that swoop look, and then like pin up more hair to the right side, more to the left side. So the girls were still being real creative if you can see that in the film.
I kind of like the fact that they wanted y'all to be exactly like in the times. Like, I don't want y'all to fake it and try to use tools to create this. It's like, this is what they did. Just do it that way. Did you, with that, in your opinion, do you feel like their hair probably a little bit more healthier back then without so much product, or versus, like, I guess, versus now?
I do believe that to be true because now a lot of people are going to the products and not really understanding what's in these products. It's a lot of alcohol, it's a lot of parabens, a lot of waxes, it's a lot of things that clog up your pores, clog up your hair, and just is not good for you overall. And so back then they wasn't using those, so their hair was so strong, the porosity um, of their hair was just very resilient. And so I think that back then your hair was probably a little bit more healthier than now. It just is what it is. The girls don't have edges these days. They haven't. It's so much alopecia. I mean, you never really heard about alopecia back then. Not saying they didn't have it, but I'm just saying like on the wide scale of it right now, it's just pulling and yanking on their hair, and not even thinking of the products they're putting in before and after, not understanding that healthy hair starts at the shampoo bowl, not necessarily after that. So you have to get, products that cleanse your hair perfectly and then add that moisture and things like that back into it. And I don't think that now that people are so much on the healthiness of the hair, I think it came in a wave when all the girls wanted to be natural, so a lot of people went natural and start paying more attention to the products they put in their hair and things like that. But it starts with not only with what you put on your hair, but with what you eat. And so we will have to take a deeper dive
Listen,
into keeping your hair healthy.
no, it's so true. The alopecia is so prevalent now. Like, it's just like people don't care about the hair care anymore. They're just like, it's a style. Like, I want this style. And it's just like, you can't do that style. Like, like, shouldn't do that style.
Yeah.
Like, there's like the rubber bands, and a lot of people are learning from YouTube. Like, it is
The YouTube
so.
University epidemic. That's a whole thing too. That's a huge thing too.
Exactly. So it's like, you know what? And this is why I wanted to create the this podcast, to kind of just educate on like healthier ways to do things, because it's so much false information is out there that is easy to get to, but it's like,
Yeah.
this is the way.
And we are like doctors of hair. Let's just say what it is. We're changing. We're dealing with chemicals. Dealing with a lot when it's dealing with hair, and our our career and our field needs to be taken serious. And it starts like with the head. And I think that if we had more of a board as far as cosmetologists goes, it would be taken more serious because we do things that other boards don't. Other careers have boards that don't even do. And so if we were more focused on the healthiness and also what word am I looking for? just us coming together and making sure that we're educating the people in the right way, because that's why a lot is going on with our industry, with like the licenses, the board, the natural license. They don't know if they're going to take away the license here and there, because we haven't been taking the industry as serious as we should take it.
Right. It's
And
anybody.
so, yeah, it's made a door come open for people to want to be like on YouTube University and think that that's the end all and be all. But coming to podcasts like this and speaking with professionals and people that's really taking the training, and not only that's taking the training, but you're doing continuing education, and that's also important in our industry too.
It is. It is. And having that license, it might cost a pretty penny, but it's worth it. And it gives you the credibility to understand not only how to do the hair, but the science behind it.
Science, yes.
So it's those conversations that have to keep coming. So I thank you for just into that
Yeah,
because
us professionals, hair professionals, we really all have the same sentiment. Like, you know what I'm saying
right,
about it. It's
right,
just we got to do more to take our industry back, so to speak.
this is true. And I feel like this is going to segue into the second question because it's basically around you being an educator and a mentor. You've inspired countless stylists, of course, especially your product line. So kudos to that. Uh,
Thank you.
you're welcome. How do you integrate your on-set experiences, um, like the work you've done on SixTriple Eight and Black Panther, into your teaching, to inspire the next generation of hairstylists?
Well, it's all encompassed in one, I think, because the skill sets that you learn on set are invaluable to the skill sets that you learn in salon or with a client if you wanted to get a personal client. All the way from time management to professionalism to set etiquette. And so it all intertwines. And I tell people that, want to come from behind the chair in the salon life, that, that time management skills, it depending on whether you came from a commission based salon or a booth rental salon, on how you handle the time management, that's going to play a big part on you being on set if that's something that you want to be on. And so that's one of the main things that I like to teach and give back to my mentees.
So I'm gonna just kind of like expand on that. When it comes to set, right? What does that look like as far as your setup on, I guess, on film or any production?
So it depends on the production. So a production like Black Panther, I'll speak on. It was a lot of heavy wig work, a lot of heavy wig, a lot of head pieces and things like that. So you want to pack a kit for wig wrapping. You want to pack a kit for different pieces that you may need, far as your pins, your head pieces, and things like that. You want to pack everything from tape to glue, all that type of stuff. So it just depends on the period you're working on. For something like SixTriple Eight, where it's a lot of pinning, you want to have a lot of pins, a lot of rubber bands, elastic, things like that. We use a plastic elastic now, or we even use a bungee. So a lot of times we don't even use um, elastic, which is rubber bands too. For the pinups, we use the bungees. So having different things like that and learning other ways, like that's why I tell people, anyone who wants to work on set, you just please take continuing education classes on set etiquette and things you use bring on set, because it's like completely different from the salon.
That's really good because the tools change, right? And especially like you
Mhm.
said, with different periods. It's like with SixTriple Eight, we're not using anything that we're using.
Got to be glue. We don't need got to be glue here.
We don't
We
need
don't
it
need edge
to.
control here. And that's also being able to take direction too, because your eye, you might want a sleeker look, but it was no edge control there. And I'll tell you something that happened on set. It's SixTriple Eight now, and I typically work for TPS, like, and I work with him on a lot of shows. And he was not playing about the hair. He was not playing about the hair. Like he stopped set before and was like, her hair slick. Like the girl had done went and put edge control and
Which
stuff on.
girl?
So some of the background people, and the background makes sets the stage for the whole movie. And so he's like, no, 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 no. And so, a good director, a good photographer, cinematographer, they want to make sure that the movie looks authentic to the time. So if you can't have edge control. We just started edge control. Y'all ain't always use edge control. So
Not
it's a way to right. It's a way to tame the hair without edge control. So just knowing your peers, doing your research before you go into a film, um, knowing what you're working on is very important. And being a team player, because you don't want to be doing something because you're like, oh, I feel like it need to look this way versus how the department head that actually set in those meetings with those producers have the visions of the producers and the writer. You want to make sure that you're portraying that and not your own work.
right. And then you want to be invited back.
Absolutely. That's a whole nother story. The callback. Yeah. So as long as you're a team player, you're bringing out the vision that needs to be brought out. You're more than likely to be called back. But if you're on there, you're trying to make the show your show. And the thing about working on television and film, it is a team effort. When I say team, it is a million people here that got to be done. So they need you on the set. Don't get me wrong, but you're not like, if you're not the department head, you're not the department head. And so a lot of times us as hairstylists, us as artists, we want to be the head all the time and don't understand that it's a bigger world and we all need to be on a team sometimes. So just understanding that it is a team environment will take you places that your talent could not never take you.
Mm, okay, that's a real good lesson. Like, learn to work in groups and teams and know when to step up or step back.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
your part. That's a continuing theme I've been hearing. Which
Yeah.
I understand. It's like, yo, like as much women that I've seen, as many women that I've seen in that film, like, first of all, everybody is gonna eat. Everybody's gonna get a chance to do a style, but it's like how diverse can you be?
Mhm.
Let it show through that. Like if I have given you an assignment and you've been able to execute it to the point that I like it, that's all that matters. Like,
Yeah. And everyone out there that really want to work on television and film, like that's what the people that hire, because everybody wants to know, how can I get hired to work on television and film? The best thing for you to do is follow directions. And it sounds so cliche, but that's really the best thing you can ever do. That's how you get called back. It'll be a time where you can step in and you can shine, or you can give your extra input, or you can trust me, there's a time. Because just like I'm saying, be a team player, the department head wants help too, right? So it's going to be a time for you to, maybe offer up doing it to the left instead of doing it to the right. You know what I'm saying? And that may be reciprocated. That may be the look he was looking for and didn't know that. So, but you just got to know when to give that 2 cents, so to speak.
okay, y'all heard that. So we know braiding is very powerful. And so we're going to touch on one of the shows that or films that you've been on and you had to create any like braided looks, and how was that? Um like it's such a creative and powerful art, right? We are now seeing it not as much, but in bridal updos, and like you said, like the pinups and stuff is still there, but it's just more in an upscale or special.
Mhm.
Um, Across the diverse sets that you've worked on, how have you seen braids evolve as a medium of expression and identity, and how do you incorporate that understanding into your work?
Well, braids are here. Natural styles are here. They're here to stay, and they're being incorporated more and more in the movies and films. Even even the what is it? The Wiz. Is it the Wiz?
I think
Um, it's the Wiz. Where are you? Okay, this girl has micro braids. The
yeah,
green
you're
girl,
talking about the
she has micro braids. So amazing. So it's definitely being incorporated. And as far as our actors, they're really moving the charge and pushing the charge forward for that to be in rooms. Even from the Little Mermaid, the Little Mermaid, she had braids. Ariel.
Mhm.
So it's being pushed forward, and that's what I'm loving because a lot of us wear braid styles. We wear kinky curly hair. You understand? And so to be able to see it on film, to see it on television, to see our representation is amazing. And that's all we really did. If we wasn't wigging up the hair, and even when you wig hair, you braid it. You braid under it.
Exactly.
That's the foundation. So if anybody not knowing how to braid out there, you need to know the art of braiding because braids are the foundation to everything that we do.
Amen. Yep. Those cornrows, those straight backs, you have to lay it down.
You have to lay it down. And even if you look at Black Panther, all those tribes, if you were a braider, and Camille Fred, she's the department head for Black Panther. But if you are a braider, she was commissioning you. Like it's so many braiders that's been able to work on that film because the whole Black Panther was braids. It wasn't no straight hair, no flows, no none of that. It was our representation of who we was. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Who we are. And just knowing how to braid and even learning the different braid techniques, whether it's a fishtail, how to take it from a fishtail to just a three strand, just being more creative with the braids is I would suggest everyone to make sure that you're getting that continuing education and learning the techniques with that because also on set they're asking for the braids now because it's less wear and tear on the actor's hair. So if an actor is going to be with us for 3 months run doing a film or either episodic, which is television show, then a lot of them is opting for braids. If you guys are noticing now with more and more of I think the lady from Found, it's a show. She's nothing but she has dreads, so she's getting her dreads styled up. It's so cute. But yeah, so just knowing how to do our natural hair is amazing.
Nice. That's really good to know. Like people are always trying to figure out like, do braiders have like I know growing up, um, I seen braiders as like I went to an African shop and I was like, I don't want to be no
Mhm.
braider. Like I'm like, it's a sweatshop. Like you didn't see it past that. And even when I started
Mhm.
going, like, oh, can you do my hair? It was just like almost a burden in the family. Like it's a blessing and a curse because they go to you for
Yeah,
everything, but it's like
yeah,
get somebody else to do it. Like, but then you start to see the power in being able to connect with people and do their hair because it is an intimate thing to touch people's hair, but
absolutely.
it's a skill that not everybody knows about.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm loving the fact that to see that people are saying, no, there's jobs out here, there's work and opportunities out here for braiders. It just kind of like broadens the horizon for braiders to be like, oh, okay, I don't have to be in just this little box.
Yeah, because just like you were saying, with some people like it's on people are only looking for braiders. Because on set, you got to get people out in less than 30. No one is in your chair. So if you're not working on how fast you're doing stuff too, you want to get on set, no one is in your chair for over 45 minutes. So having that skill set, you braiders have to braid fast and quick. I know sometimes I've been on a set and they'll call braiders up there to do it. So if you don't know how to braid, that's days you missing on set because they're gonna call braiders in. So it's a lot of opportunity for braiders on set.
Love that. Okay, so our last and final question for this segment of like the education part. Your career spans a wide range of projects from TV shows to on-screen films. Can you share a moment from your time on any set, whether it's The Color Purple or Black Panther or the SixTriple Eight, that reaffirmed the power of hairstyling to shape characters and tell stories?
Oh yeah. Well, any most sets because I do a lot of period films. So like on the underground, that was episodic. It came on for like 10 years and it talked about basically the passageway, how we used to go from the south to the north and just, the slaves back then. And so we had to do the hair to how it was during those times. And it really, like you said, shaped the film because if we didn't do the hair like that during those times, then it wouldn't have brought the people back into the slavery times.
Yeah. And I know that they were saying like during those times it was like cornrows and it shaped like some people designed it in a way that
The passage, yep, the passageways, so they would know how to get from one place to the next, all from just looking at the hair.
and
So
then
hair has always been a pivotal part in our country's history and our people.
right. Another thing I've also learned about is the food. Like they would put like grains of rice, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like lining in the cornrows to kind of like help
Mm-hmm.
them on the journey. It's
Yeah.
like so sustainable and just creative on how they was resourceful.
Yes, all with your hair. All with your hair. Even notes and stuff. Everything was put in the hair.
And I mean, you good, you can stick it in there. The front,
Right.
like you pat that.
Right.
So it was good to not have relaxers back then or anything like that
Right.
because it just basically hid things. So there's like so much power and diversity in our hair that I think is very incredible for people to understand, especially braiders or hairstylists in general, to understand that every strand tells that story, but it also has
Yeah,
so much significance in it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And so the last three questions is just going to be about how they get to know you a little bit. So,
Okay.
so the first question is, what is something people are surprised to learn about you?
I got a coffee shop.
What? You do?
Coffee shop, yeah. So I got a coffee shop here in Atlanta where I'm from. It's called 404 Coffee. It's Atlanta based, everything Atlanta. And it's so crazy because it's like a business that just, to be honest. And it's like, God, why? Why? And it's like so related to hair. I still talk to people. I still get to pour into people the same way hair is. And so I'm loving it.
I love that. I love that.
Uh,
Still pouring into people the way you pour. I caught that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it is good because I mean, when you're doing here, you're always talking, and of course, somebody has to order some food because sometimes it's a long process. You
Hmm.
want to like, so food and hair. Back in the days, I don't know if you remember this movie, Babs,
Yes, I love Babs.
right? Where she was
In fact, the department head that I work with on SixTriple Eight that he did Babs.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
all
so
right.
they get him for the periods, period, because
Okay.
he know how to do that.
It was just so cool, like, and an inspiration where she was like, I want to combine like the food and the salon, right? And it was just like, no, who does that? But like, no, like food and hair goes together.
It really does. They don't like us doing that even here in Georgia. They don't like us doing it, but it really does. It really does. It's like because it's like how you can break bread, you sit around and you talk and you eat. It's the same thing. Like you sit around, you get your hair done. It's the same like
Yeah, we doing it in our homes, right? Like
right.
it's right there, the living room. So it's that's that feeling. Okay, so well, congratulations on the coffee shop. All right. Um, so what is a book that you would recommend? A book or some kind of resource that you would recommend for our listeners?
The Four Agreements. I love that book because it's all about self work, and you're only as good as yourself, your mind, your mindset. So, the Four Agreements would be a book I would tell. It's small but mighty, and I feel like depending on where you're at in your life, it reads one way, and then when you get to another step in your life, it may read another way. So it's one of those books that you can always pick up.
Mm, that's a good one. That's a really good one. And then last but not least, how can people support and connect with you?
You guys can always go to my website at kellij.com. That's Kelly with an I and not a Y. And it will take you to all my channels, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, gotta have all that, IMDb, whatever. It's Kelly J Beauty, but you can get everything from my website, kellij.com. You can find out about my classes, you can get my hair products from there, all that.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Y'all heard it here. I am Karen Tenord. This is the Art of Braids, and you are listening to Kelli J, aka Kelli Jones.
Thank you. Can't wait to talk to you again.
See you.
Bye.